Hello! Arthur here, and in honour of Easter 2021, I'd like to talk about eggs. Why are eggs shaped like eggs? What mathematical properties do eggs contain? And which planets are shaped like eggs? Mathematically, an egg can be created by rotating an oval along its axis of rotation. Ovals differ from ellipses in that ellipses have mathematical equations that define them, whereas ovals don't. Ovals may also have a more pointed side and a less pointed side. The equation for an ellipse is this, where A represents the longer side and B the shorter side. If we increase the exponent from 2 to higher values, such as 4 or 6 or 8, the ellipse becomes more and more rectangular shaped. When the graph is halfway between an ellipse and a rectangle, it's called a superellipse. This roundabout in Sergel's talk in Stockholm is an example of a superellipse, and plotted on a graph would have an exponent of 2.5. This was created in the 1970s when Swedish town planners wanted to build a roundabout in the middle of this rectangular shaped town square without leaving too much space or making some areas too narrow for traffic. The planners asked Danish poet and mathematician P. Hein to design a shape for this roundabout, and he came up with the superellipse. If we were to rotate a superellipse along x-axis, we get something called a super egg, which, unlike normal eggs, can actually stand up instead of topple over. Egg-shaped eggs are actually unusual. Not all birds lay egg-shaped eggs. A 2017 study plotted the eggs of many different bird species with ellipticity on one axis and asymmetry on the other, and found that chicken eggs were unusual. If we factor in insect eggs and fish eggs, most of which are spherical, then egg-shaped eggs become even weirder. There are 10,000 known species of bird, compared to 22,000 estimated fish species and 900,000 insect species, meaning most eggs are probably not egg-shaped and are instead spherical shaped. One theory for why birds' eggs are egg-shaped is that eggs will usually roll in a circle around a central point, whereas spheres will just keep on rolling forever, which would make sense, especially for birds who lay eggs near or on cliff edges or in trees. The common question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And if you're talking about all eggs, then the egg came first, as egg-laying creatures existed for many years before chickens. But when we phrase to the chicken or the chicken egg, well, evolution is a process that happens with changes taking place over many generations, meaning that there was no chicken ancestor who gave birth to the first chicken, and so the question falls apart. The tradition of decorating Easter eggs by painting has been dated back to at least the 13th century, although decorated eggs can be dated back over 60,000 years with engravings on ostrich eggs found in Africa. Easter eggs are likely linked to pagan traditions, where eggs representing new life and rebirth is used as a symbol of spring. The first chocolate egg was made in 1873 by J.S. Fry and Sons. Other countries had been making chocolate eggs for many years from solid chocolate, but Fry's were the first to figure out how to create hollow eggs using moulds. The egg shape is a very cool shape, but what may be surprising is that there are egg-shaped planets out there. WASP 12b is located 1,200 light-years away in the constellation of Auriga and orbits the yellow dwarf WASP 12. This gas planet orbits so close to its star that the gravity of the star creates huge tidal forces that stretch the planet into an egg shape. The dwarf planet Harume, located beyond the orbit of Pluto, also has an egg shape because it spins so fast that gravity squashes the dwarf planet at the poles. KOI 1843.03 orbits a red dwarf half the mass of the Sun and is located a little less than 400 light-years away. High iron content means that the planet is strong enough to not get ripped apart by a star, and the fast orbital speed combined with the proximity to its host star results in this planet having an egg shape. If the Earth was shaped like an egg, gravity would be distributed unevenly across the surface. If the egg-shaped Earth was stretched at the equator, gravity would be weaker at the poles and stronger at the equator, and if stretched at the poles, the reverse would be the case. Finally, let's talk about the day on which Easter occurs. Easter takes place on the Sunday following the first full moon after the spring equinox. If the first full moon actually takes place on a Sunday, then Easter is pushed towards the following Sunday, which is happening this year. This year, Easter is on the 4th of April. Easter last took place on this day recently, back in 2010. However, won't be on this day again until 2083. The earliest day that Easter has fallen on in recent years is March 23rd, back in 2008. Easter won't fall on this day again until 2160. But the earliest date that Easter can be is March 22nd, which last happened in 1818 and won't happen again until 2285, almost 20 years further in the future than the original Star Trek series is set. The latest date that Easter can fall on is April 25th, which last happened in 1943 and will happen again in 2038. Thanks for watching.